set?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
An opening statement.
Yep. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I think to start off by congratulating Rachel on a fantastic weekend. She's just very good at what she does. We're excited about this season. I'll go about this the same way that I have in the past. I'll just go around the diamond, and then when we get done, whatever I didn't touch base on or whatever you have questions on, I'll answer. Anything's fair game. We're really excited about certain parts of our club. We're excited about the returning position players and the maturity that they have and the experience that we have. We've got 11 guys that were here in 12 that are going to be with us this year, and I think that's a tremendous benefit for us. The maturity of our group is at a different level than it was at any time last spring, so that's really a positive. The team culture is good to this point, and obviously I'm well aware we haven't played a game yet, but I'm proud of what the kids have done. So that's a really good thing, and it makes you feel good about our kids and working with them on a daily basis. I'll start with the pitching. Which probably takes the most of my time during practice, but it seems to always generate the most questions and obviously has a huge impact on your club. But we're going to have 3 starting pitchers that are good, if not very good, on any given date. We'll be able to match up with starting pitching every weekend. We've got AJ back for his junior year. We got Chandler Shepard back for his junior year, and then we got Kyle Cody, and those 3 guys should be very, very competitive and very skilled. There'll be some growth throughout the year with those 3 guys. They've got to get better at their own specific battles. They know what those are. I've done a very good job of communicating that with them, but AJ and Shep have been through the league for 2 years. Kyle got some starts, obviously, last year on the weekend as well, towards the end of the year. They're 3 very talented kids. They're competitive, and we're proud to run those 3 guys out. We've got 10 new pitchers on the staff. We've got 2 guys coming back that were injured last year and got surgeries. So between those 12 and the 3 guys that pitched in relief last year, I've got to get a new bullpen, and that'll be my primary job throughout the early part of the year. I've got to get a bullpen developed. That's on me. It's what I do, and I need to do a good job of it. Anytime you have a new group of kids, there'll be some ups and downs in that bullpen role. We've just gone through a 2-year history, Brent Ingram tells me, of having the most impressive or the best numbers that they've ever had here with the bullpen for 2 years, and we're proud of that. But those kids are gone. They did a good job for us, but it's time to develop a new group of kids, and that's what I'm going to have to do. But we've got the 2 new. We've got Zach Strecker. We've got Dylan Dwyer. We got Ryan Combs from here in town. So those 3, along with the 10 new ones, I got to find a group of basically 5 kids there that we can count on, and then they've got to grow into their roles. They've got to be confident, aggressive, dominate the bottom of the strike zone, all the things that you need to do to be good at pitching. That's what they've got to do, and that'll take a little bit of time, but they'll be up to the task. Moving around the diamond, at catcher, we probably one of the very few teams in the country to have 3 returning catchers. We're good there. Michael Thomas is in front. He's a 5th-year senior. Done a really, really good job in a lot of areas. Leadership, developing confidence, changing his body, stronger, understanding the game at a much higher level than he did a couple years ago, a true belief in himself, able to communicate on different levels throughout the spectrum of the pitching staff personalities, much improved. Greg Fettis and Zach Arnold are in a daily battle for that second spot. They're both going to be good enough that we can use them. Why would you use 3 catchers? Well, you never know when somebody's going to take a foul ball off the thumb. Pitching matchups, pinch hitting matchups, base running. None of those 3 are, near the fastest runners that we have. So if you got yourself in a position where you need to run, we would have a very capable backup, and that's a really good thing. So that's where we are catching. It'll be better than it was last year. They're all older. They're stronger. Our throwing to second base has improved. So that's a very It should be a very secure position for us. Max Kuhn will be at third base. This is Max's 3rd year. Tremendous growth over the summer and the fall. Really a much more comfortable player, much more confident player. has grown into a player that our kids look up to, especially the younger kids on the infield. Finished the fall on fire at the plate offensively, wearing out the right center gap, a much more mature approach to competition and hitting. He's done a good job. Max has improved his body. He's stronger. Really glad that we have Max. Matt Rada will be the shortstop. Be Matt's 4th year with us. Going to provide infield leadership. Does a very good job defensively. Much different body than he'd had in the past. A real commitment to the weight room, which has been impressive, and I think it's had a really positive impact on our club. Matt's a smart player. A good player. I think he's going to have a much better year offensively. I think the strength and the maturity of just another year in our league and knowing what to expect is going to help Matt. We're open at second base. Connor Heddy and Javon Shelby are the two guys battling it out there. Both really talented players. They're going to be really good players by the time they leave UK. A little bit different style player, but both very confident, very athletic. They both run well. They both have well above average arm strength. They're both freshmen, so that'll bring the challenges that it brings with any freshman. But those are the two guys that are in front for the battle at second base, and we're excited to have those two guys with us. The two guys that are going to be at first base most of the time, if we can keep Thomas Burnell healthy, will be Thomas and AJ. Obviously, Greg and MT have played a little bit of first base last year, and so those two guys could spell at first base as well. First base is going to be an important position for us when AJ's pitching, because we've got to get some right-handed production over there. We should be very good as a club hitting from the left side. We've got very talented kids. But one of our battles early on especially is going to be to develop some right-handed hitting, guys that we can count on, guys that give us quality at bats. And Thomas is a guy that's absolutely changed his body. Again, it's his 4th year here. He's a leader on our team. Kids respect him. You respect him for the type of work ethic he has, the type of person that he is. He's bright and he's tough, and he's swinging the bat at a different level. So obviously that's very encouraging to me and to us, and the kids notice. Those are the infield positions. We should be somewhere between above average and outstanding in the outfield. We really should. We've got talented kids. We've got competitive kids. We're going to be able to run. We lead the country in left-handed hitting outfielders. You can only play 3 at a time, so the fact that we've got 6 might not be much of a benefit. But if you could play 6, we could do it. But we have good players out there. Austin Kuzma will be back for his 3rd year in center field. Kyle Barrett will be in the outfield as well. And then we've got a pretty good battle going on for that 3rd spot. And when we face an above-average left-handed slider, it would be nice to put a right-handed bat out there for us. And right now the two candidates are Dorian Hairston and Javon, moving him from second base out there. Those two guys are going to have to battle it out for that right-handed hitting spot out there. The left-handed hitting spot, Kai Tom has done a very good job. Marcus Carson has done a good job. Storm Wilson has done a good job. Bryce Bastian is another left-handed hitting candidate. I hope it ain't for you. Did I forget anybody? Is that it? Yeah, so there's 6 of them. But anyway, that's the outfield. We're going to run positionally. We've got good run. AJ's not a good runner, but the rest of them run pretty good. On that topic, one of the things that's been a real bright spot for us is the fact that AJ's got a different body than he had last year. He took it upon himself to lose 20 pounds. It's helped him at the plate. It's going to help him immensely on the mound. I think it's helped our team. I think anytime a college kid makes a commitment like that and changes how he goes about his business, I think it's a really positive thing. And I think everybody appreciates it. I think they respect it, and I think they appreciate it, and I think we're going to benefit by the fact that AJ's taking his physical conditioning to a new level. Overall, our bodies have changed dramatically, and that's a thing that sometimes You wonder why you can't do that every year, but the bottom line is you can't force effort in the weight room. You can force them to get in there. You can make them do the lifts, but the intensity and the commitment that they take, the personal pride that they have in themselves and each other, is something that you try to influence in a positive way all the time from the coaching staff. But this group is really taking it upon themselves, and we've got some bodies that our fans are going to look at and they're going, "Wow, is that really him out there?" And we've got 3 or 4 of them that are much different. Older kids too, not just sophomores, and so that's really a positive thing. And I'm proud of our kids for what they've done, and I know our coaching staff is as well. Let's open it up for questions.
If I counted correctly, I think you got 7 junior college transfers on the roster. What was the thinking behind adding that kind of older talent?
Well, I can't come up with 7, but I'm coming up with 2 on the pitching staff. I've got 1 on the infield. Dude, are we counting maybe the guys that were here, or maybe I'm just getting old, John? Yep. Yep. Yep.
Bryce Bastion.
Yep.
Kai Tom.
Yep. There's 4. Yeah. Okay. So is that last one?
Matt Snyder and Tim Bold.
Okay. Well, Matt came from 4-year. Bryce was here last year as a student. Dominic's been hurt the whole year, so that gives me I get a mulligan there on 4 of them, I guess, or 3. But the junior college kid, we've had tremendous success here junior college-wise. If you've been a follower of our program, we've probably had more success junior college than anybody in the league, I would think, over the past decade. It's been kind of phenomenal, really. So that's the thinking. And any time that you go get guys in the spring, junior college kids, that's because you either planned for it or a freshman didn't work out. And we had both. And that's the reality of it. We had a couple guys here last year as freshmen that we thought were going to be able to do it, and they were not able to do it. And so you fill those spots. But the 2 kids on the pitching staff right now are extremely hard workers. They're still in that adjustment period, the same exact place that Sawyer Carroll was as a junior. Exactly the same, or Matt Robinson or Alex Phillips. It's phenomenal how that cycle repeats itself, but that's where they are, and they're going to end up being very good, and guys that we can count on right now. They're making their way, and the transition for the freshmen sometimes is, or the junior college kids, is exactly as it is for the freshmen. They've got to make their way. They got to learn to believe that they can do it. They're plenty skilled enough. There's no question about that, but we got to get the belief issue, and they got to get comfortable and all the rest. But those 2 guys are going to help. D'Souza's been hurt. Tyler Tipton has been hurt. Bryce Bastion was here in school last year and has done a good job. Matt Snyder came from Temple. Matt's going to help us on the mound. Who else did I miss? He's one of the 2 guys on the mound. So anyway, that's a solid group of kids. They're really, really good. We've done a really good job here getting smart, tough junior college kids. So hopefully these 2 guys I can say the same about those 2 guys in 2 years.
Yeah, you've been blessed with some really mild, good weather.
It's been fantastic.
Until now.
Yeah.
In recent years. How does this present a challenge getting the team ready to play?
Well, we don't talk about the weather. Does it present some challenge? Yeah, it does. But it doesn't really make any difference. It is what it is. We have what we have. We haven't been outside. This is certainly my worst winter of 11. We've had similar winters before, and what I know from that experience is it takes you a week or 2 longer to get it going. Baseball's a game that you got to play. You can drill it, you can cage it, you can throw in the bullpens all you want, but you've got to play the game. And so until we get those repetitions under our belt and we get that experience, you'll expect that maybe the game's not quite as crisp in weeks 1 as 2 as you like, but you'll grow from it. And I think the kids know that. And as long as their heart's in the right spot and their work ethic stays the same, and we're constantly improving our ability to concentrate and play the game a pitch at a time, and really, really have a true commitment to competitive at bats, I think we'll be fine. The thing that you're going to constantly battle early on when you haven't had the field time is giving away extra bases. You're not quite as sharp defensively as you like. You can take all the ground balls you want inside Nutter, and it's not the same as a live ball coming off the bat. So you know that for your infielders. The running game is something that we work extremely hard on here, but still that's a transitional piece from practice to the games that pitchers have got to become comfortable and then aggressive with. And then that confrontation that you have between the pitcher and the hitter is something that you just don't. It's not the same in practice as it is in game. But I think our kids know that, and the game will get cleaner as the spring goes on. I tell our guys all the time, and I think they believe me. The game changes between week 2 and week 3 of SEC play. It just does. It gets better, and I think you see the same thing in the preseason. And so. Hopefully we get to play all the preseason games. We don't get rained out and have to reschedule. And if we do that, by the time we get to Tuscaloosa, we should be ready to go.
Coach, what are you expecting out of Chandler? I know last season he came in and pitched maybe a couple innings to relief, but this year is he going into the rotation?
Well, Chandler is, he's going to be a starting pitcher. But, college baseball provides the opportunity to do different things based upon our schedule. You don't play 6 games a week. But moving into it, I would expect him to be an extremely effective starting pitcher for us at a high level for 14 weeks in the regular season and then on to postseason. That's what I would expect. In college baseball, at times, depending upon what your schedule is, you can use those guys to pick up an inning or on a Tuesday or something like that. I haven't sat down with those 3 guys and talked about all those types of things, but AJ pitched in relief as a freshman. Chandler's pitched in relief and started for 2 years. They'll be flexible. They're smart. They're tough. But he's going to be a starting weekend pitcher.
Last year, 2 years ago, you had Alex as your setup guy. Chandler last year. Do you have a formula, or do you see someone that you say, hey, this could be our guy? Who's the closer?
You want both, huh?
You got it.
Well, my answer, Brian, would be that we have 10 new guys on the mound, and we've got the 3 returning guys. And no, I don't have. It's not in concrete. Do I have ideas? Well, sure. You got things that you think are going to work, and we've got a couple of guys with really good arms that are making progress. But, until you put them in a game, some guys get in the game and they're actually a little bit better. And some guys get in the game and it takes them 2 or 3 outings to not shy away, to be really aggressive. So we've got some options. We've got enough breaking ball. We've got enough changeup. We've got enough left and right that if I can get them to grow up, or they can get them to grow up, and they like to compete, if I can get that piece in place, or we can get that piece in place, we're going to be fine. But I don't know what those are going to be. It's new, and it's kind of like developing the foundation for it in 11. And it got better in 11, but it didn't get really good until 12. In the last 2 years, it had been great, and it takes a little bit of time to develop those things. So we've got some options. If I can get enough guys that really enjoy competing and attack the bottom of the strike zone, we'll be fine. We've got enough pieces that we can put that thing together.
How important is experience behind the plate, not just in general, but with the fluidity that you've mentioned in the bullpen?
Well, average catching is going to turn good pitching into average pitching, And good catching has got a chance to turn average pitching into above average. I don't think you're ever going to make it great. But I think having a guy back there that can communicate, calm down, motivate, direct, nonverbal communication, I think that stuff is all really important. In fact, I know it is. And so to have Michael back there and the other 2 guys that are working on that stuff diligently, I think has got a chance to be a strength of our club. There's no question in my mind that Michael Thomas has got a chance to be a strength of our club, and that the position does. The thing that you've got to get the kids to understand when they come to college is that the game is so much more cerebral and so much more about communication than just catch it and throw it. And our guys are receptive. Their aptitude, their instincts are solid. So I think it's got a chance to be a strength of ours. And does that answer it? Yeah.
What aspects do you think that AJ and Kyle Cody can bring to those new bullpen pitchers that you have, since they're 2 of the 3 starting players?
Well, the thing about your collegiate baseball team, there's a few things, but one of them is that you are judged by the presence of those 3 weekend guys. I mean, you just are, and it's really important to be good at catcher. It's really important to be good up the middle. It's really important to be good in center field. But your team goes to battle with that guy on the mound, and I don't know that Kyle Cody is going to provide a lot to a new relief pitcher other than to show him and to demonstrate what it looks like to stand out on the mound and compete. and not just compete when we're up by 6. You know, it's really important those guys learn how to compete in the 3rd inning when we're down a run. I think the biggest thing that the starting pitchers can do, those 2 guys, is provide a leadership role in how they go about their business, their mound presence, their reaction when things don't go our way, how they respond when we've got to get 4 outs in an inning, how they respond when an umpire clearly misses strike 3 and now the count's 2-2 instead of he's out. I think then you get into the personalities of the kids, and AJ's a much different person than Kyle. So, I mean, he's going to provide, more in that, and he's been here a year longer and had more success. So, but those guys on the mound on the weekends, they have got to embody what your program is, and they've got to represent me. They've got to represent themselves. They've got to represent our entire program, because how they go about their business is extremely important.
Gary, when they announced the football practice facility renovations, it seemed to be the baseball stadium was next on the list. How important would that be for the program?
Well, it's real important. Is Mitch still here? Mitch is gone. Well, that's a topic that I have conversations with Mitch frequently. It's important. When I tell our guys all the time, everybody likes newer things. I want a newer car. So do you. Everybody wants a newer car, and I get that and I understand that. The facility is important from a recruiting standpoint. There's no question about that. And our guys are probably tired of hearing me say this, but I know for a fact you can win a conference championship in Cliff Hagan Stadium. I've got a ring. So that part's been proven. And the bigger issue for me with the stadium is that it's just a statement to where the program is. We're in the conference. It's time. Mitch is aware. Obviously, things like that takes time. There's a huge expenditure of money. And if you've watched anything that Mitch has done during his time here, it's all about facility improvement. Everything's gotten better, and once we get the football practice facility started, which is going to be here relatively soon, the only thing that's left is baseball, and I just turn that into a positive. The longer we wait, the better it's going to be, and that's the way it's going to happen, and I'll be very, very glad to be a part of it. Mitch is very supportive, and I appreciate him listening to me because I wear him out pretty frequently on it.
Coach, how excited are you to open up the season with the #1 team in the nation?
Well, I'm really excited, and that was we kind of caught a break there because when I called UNC Wilmington, I'd been to Wilmington before. I thought it'd be a good place just to do something different to get the season started. UVA wasn't a part of the tournament. And so Mark called me up and said, hey, would you be willing to? And I said, absolutely. So I think that's great. It's win-win. If I had my choice, I think we probably would have been outside another day or two, but that's what it is, And so I look at that, and I know I don't know Brian very well. I know the 2 assistants well, and we're looking forward to playing them.
With Austin's outside experience being on the USA Nationals team, what kind of knowledge do you see him bringing to the team now that he's come back for this season? And then will we see him accepting that leadership role going into the start of the season?
Well, I'll start at the end. The answer to that is yes. But the thing that kids bring, there's a little bit of knowledge that they bring. There's no question about that. And typically you see things, they typically tend to be relatively similar over time, and that is the kid comes back from the freshman year of summer baseball much, much more mature, understanding that when he's at Kentucky, he's at a special league, at a special place, and that we're a part of a great university. I think they know that at a certain extent when they're freshmen, but I don't think they truly understand and believe it until they go out and they play with guys from different conferences or different schools or guys that don't have near the resources or the experiences that we do. In terms of Austin specifically, the knowledge piece that he brings is good. It's great, but I'm much more concerned about the leadership, the willingness to lead, the presence, the ability to handle with short-term failure, and I think those are things that you learn in those environments, and he's done a great job of that. Very good job.
Gary, you talked about building your bullpen, and you'll have some new faces in these places, and yet some of these kids aren't new to the program. They've been with you for a year or two. How much does that help that they know your methods and how you want things done?
Well, I think it helps a lot, but I think there's a couple things, the key things, Dick, when you ask that. that I think of. And one is just getting used to me telling them it's not good enough when they first get here, because their whole life somebody's told them that they're good enough. You know, they're the best, and I understand that. And of course, you know, we have a piece of that in the recruiting process, you know. But then they get here, and then you know, you've been courting this kid for a year or two, and the first thing you tell them is that that's not going to work. And so you've got to get through that piece to where they trust your evaluation, because initially it's a shot at their self-esteem, you know, because they haven't heard that. And so you got to get through that piece of it. And that's what the freshman fall is. And the next part of it is building that trust with the guy in the pen, so that you can basically tell him anything you want in any fashion that you want, because you're trying to capture his attention to get him to take the next step. And that's the biggest piece, you know, is breaking down that wall of resistance, because, like I said, they've been told forever that how good they are. And so you've with an older kid, Dick, he's been down that road a year or two. And Mahar is a great example. You know, Sam is a perfect example of that. And as soon as he gets his arm strength back, he's going to be very effective for us. You know, and he's throwing strikes, and he's got a chance to be very, very good. But right now his arm strength's not where it needs to be. I think he's healthy, but, you know, he's probably got 10 innings of work before he takes another jump, would be my guess. Taylor Martin's in the same spot.
2 years ago, Kuzi really made a name for himself across the country. Last year, Kyle Barrett surprised a lot of people. Is there a freshman on this team or one of the newcomers that you look at and say, this kid's special? Something a little extra that no one knows about?
Well, I think that we've got three guys that have a gene pool, a skill set, natural ability that set them apart a little bit. Now, whether or not they're ready to play the game in our league and be successful, I don't know. You don't know about those guys. I mean, you really don't. I thought, in all fairness, I thought that when Austin came here as a freshman, he was going to be a very good player. But I gauged that off of two things. You know, one was the stroke I saw in the summer or in the fall when I saw him the first time. I was sold on the stroke immediately. But the other thing about him is he had a presence about him. You know, and there's a confidence that comes with some kids. Now, he had some confidence that was born out of a lot of success early on. You know, I mean, he's been successful, you know, playing youth sports early on. They don't all come that way. You know, compare his presence as a freshman with some of the other guys, and you know, the presence was ahead. Some guys just develop later. That's all there is to it. Chris Bisson was a tremendous player here when he left. That was not ready as a freshman, you know. So you don't know, but you could see how he was wired, live body, fast, smart, all those things. But you know, with Chris, so we've got some guys that are in that gene pool that are going to be very good players by the time they leave here.
Tom seemed to show some flashes during your fall World Series games. Can you talk a little bit more about him? And what he's doing?
Well, Kai brings power. Maybe not tremendous home run power, but he's got enough power, and he's a strong-bodied kid that he's going to be able to run the ball over outfielders' heads and in the gap. He runs well and he throws well. Really impressed with what he did by the time that we got done in November to when he came back in January. He had a different stroke. He'd figured out some things with his swing, and so he was also a little bit stronger. So anytime a kid goes home for a month and comes back, and you can see that they've been working, which you can or not. I mean, you can see whether they've worked or not. Anytime a kid does that, you almost always feel as though it's going to go well for them early on. So I don't know. He's got a little bit of a hamstring issue he's dealing with right now, but he's going to be a good player for us.
How did you go about recruiting him? How did that begin? I think it's the first player from Hawaii.
He was at a junior college, and we saw him in the summer and had a need for another outfield spot, and honestly really wanted a right-handed bat and couldn't find that, and found one that we thought was capable of playing in our league. And so anytime you got a guy that's capable of playing in your league, and you know, and you have a need, it's kind of like the draft. You know, you fill a specific spot, or you get the best player you can find. It was that type of a thought.
Gary, last year Kyle showed a lot of flashes. Every now and then he'd make that pitch you'd love to have back. Is there one thing in particular you'd like to, or that you've been working with him in terms of his approach on the mound?
Well, Nothing unusual. The absolute basics. One of the things there's really a couple things that distinguish him, I think, and one is well above average arm strength, and it's not just that the ball's hard, but he's got life on it when it's down, and so that sets him apart a little bit. And I think that was pretty evident last year for a lot of the at bats that people took against him. The other thing that besides just the physical presence, I mean, he's bigger and stronger than most kids that you're going to see on the field this year on either team. Is he's got an above average feel for changeup for somebody that throws that hard. And so towards the end of the year last year, he had a very average breaking ball for where he was. It wasn't below average. It wasn't above. It was just an average freshman breaking ball. But the changeup wasn't average. It was above average. And so you saw a loss of balance on some of the swings, and we started using that late in the count. And those are the things you're trying to focus on. But the biggest thing for Kyle Cody is a true commitment to playing the game a pitch at a time. He's responsible. He's accountable. All the personality issues, those are all in place. But he's got to learn to concentrate at a higher level, and he will.
Anything else? Thank you, Coach.
Thank you for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thanks again for